Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. What a pathetic defense. We're building on yesterday's video, this bogus narrative that Democrats are carefully trying to craft. Joe Biden did nothing wrong. In fact, Devon Archer's testimony fully exonerates Joe. Well, that's how Dan Goldman tried to characterize the transcript. But see, here's the little problem that Democrats are running into. The transcript was just released. We have the transcript. The Democrats are doing what they always do, focusing on one specific sentence uttered by Devon Archer and claiming it's proof that Joe Biden did nothing wrong. Well, it's not, obviously, because Democrats are cherry-picking a single sentence, ignoring all context surrounding, and even misrepresenting the sentence itself. They are full of it as per usual. We're going to expose the lies, we're going to expose the propaganda. Devon Archer's testimony is exactly as we initially presented it. It is damning. Let's continue to demolish their dishonest narratives. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the transcript has officially been released. Leftoids are doing what leftoids usually do. This right here is what they want you to focus on. This is what's trending in left-wing circles. This is a dialogue transcript between Representative Daniel Goldman and Devon Archer. There was no corruption, wrongdoing, or impropriety on the part of Vice President Biden. I have no basis to know. The report also found, quote, no. Mr. Goldman says, I'm sorry, you have no basis to know, or is that a no? Mr. Archer says, I would have no idea. Mr. Goldman says, no basis. Mr. Schwartz, are you aware of any wrongdoing by Vice President Biden? Mr. Archer says, no, I am not aware of any. So based on your knowledge and experience, you have no evidence that would contradict any of these conclusions I just read. Devon Archer responds, no. The report also found, quote, no evidence that any action of the U.S. government or any U.S. official was taken to benefit Burisma or Hunter Biden. Do you have any evidence or knowledge that contradicts this conclusion? Devon Archer responds, no. So based on everything you saw, heard, and observed, did you have any knowledge of Joe Biden having any involvement with Burisma? Devon Archer says, no. Not direct, no. No involvement of Joe, no. Biden with Burisma, no. My only thought is that I think Burisma would have gone out of business if it didn't have the brand attached to it. That's my honest opinion. And so Democrats are claiming that Devon Archer fully exonerated Joe, but he clearly didn't. He starts off by saying, I have no basis to know, and then follows up by saying, I would have no idea, I'm not aware, and I don't have evidence. So Devon Archer is essentially saying, I can't prove that Joe Biden was involved, I have no basis to know, I have no information to directly connect him, which doesn't exonerate Joe Biden, it just means that Devon Archer doesn't possess irrefutable evidence. We already knew that. It's not new information. It's more the suggestion. And then following up, he literally suggests that again, Burisma's interest was in Joe Biden, providing them with policy and legal benefit to avoid running into legal troubles with Victor Shokin. Saying I cannot present evidence to tie Joe Biden directly doesn't mean Joe Biden is fully innocent, and Devon Archer is claiming that Joe Biden wasn't involved at all. And then if you keep reading the transcript, well, this is where you land. I have no basis for anything, never had any conversations. Mr. Goldman then says, but that's different than Joe Biden's action. Devon Archer responds, right. You're just talking about that Hunter was on the board, right. And I think that's why it was able to survive for as long as it did. Mr. Goldman then responds, because of the addition of capital or just because of the brand? I don't understand. How does that have an impact? Well, the capabilities to navigate DC that they were able to, basically be in the news cycle, and I think that preserved them from a longevity standpoint. That's how I think holistically. But how would that work? And here is where it gets damning. Devon Archer says specifically, because people would be intimidated to mess with them. Mr. Goldman responds in what way? Mr. Archer then responds, legally. Devon Archer writes, so on this line of questioning, I have no proof, I have nothing. Mr. Goldman follows up by saying, let's talk about legally. I think just to pivot to that, because you said that earlier, I believe the direct quote is that Burisma felt like they had Shokin under control. Correct. This is what Representative Daniel Goldman is claiming totally exonerates Joe Biden. Devon Archer is saying explicitly that the entire purpose of having Hunter Biden serve on the board of Burisma was to legally intimidate investigators from going after Burisma, specifically Victor Shokin. Devon Archer isn't able to produce a text message or recorded phone call between Joe Biden and Burisma executives where they outline the plan because obviously there were proxies involved and Criminal Joe wouldn't incriminate himself that easily. But at the same time, he says essentially that was the purpose. Then if you simply think about the timeline, I mean, come on. Again, the same question. Do I look stupid to you? Reading this transcript, Devon Archer essentially said that the Ukrainian executives at Burisma essentially wanted Hunter Biden to relieve pressure from the prosecutor who was looking into corruption. They wanted the Biden family to help alleviate some of the heat that they were experiencing. Then Joe Biden, I guess, totally coincidentally, happens to blackmail the Ukrainian government, forcing them to fire Viktor Shokin. The claim at the time was that Viktor Shokin was corrupt. The claim was, and the claim remains, I mean, Democrats keep making this claim all over Twitter, that Viktor Shokin was compromised, he was ineffective, and he wasn't going after corruption. But in terms of actual prosecutions and monies retrieved, he was 2 times more effective than the prosecutors who preceded him. Maybe that was the problem, that Viktor Shokin was actually doing his job as a prosecutor, and the corrupt bureaucrats making millions upon millions of dollars in Eastern Europe didn't really appreciate that so much. Here's a clip from a French content creator that puts it into perspective.
After his first year in office, the activity of Prosecutor Shokin's bureau was assessed. As you can see, Shokin appears to be 2 or 3 times as efficient as his predecessors, whether it be in terms of the amount of money recovered, of the number of criminal investigations initiated, or of the number of anti-corruption actions launched against public servants. Similarly, in 2015, the press reported numerous anti-corruption procedures launched by the Prosecutor's Bureau. But Shokin's crown achievement is the creation of an anti-corruption prosecutor bureau as an independent entity.
Yet a counter-narrative was set that Viktor Shokin was actually corrupt and needed to be removed. And of course, the media played right into it. And even after he was fired and after the truth was coming out in 2019 and 2018, this is what CNN claimed.
There was a crooked prosecutor in Ukraine who was not bringing prosecutions on anybody. There was absolutely not a single active anti-corruption prosecution going on in Ukraine, including with respect to this company that Biden's son was involved in. We, the United States government, and our allies in Europe, and the International Monetary Fund, and every international institution that was trying to help Ukraine at the time said, you got to get rid of this crooked prosecutor and get somebody who will actually go after them.
That it's a false claim about Joe Biden. Clearly, it isn't. Even Devon Archer is claiming that that was the explicit use of the Bidens being connected to the Burisma board, or Burisma as a whole. That's exactly what happened. We have the timeline of events. We know what happened. We know what the goal was. We know what actions Joe Biden took at the time. We know that the Bidens received millions upon millions of dollars for no clear services rendered in a very shady, webbed scheme of bank accounts and secret accounts. I mean, the whole scheme has been put together. We have the whole picture. It's a puzzle, and we've essentially put it together. The image spells up Biden family corruption and bribery crimes, and Dan Goldman and the rest of these ridiculous Democrats on Twitter want you to focus on one specific line where Devon Archer says, I'm not aware, or I have no basis to provide actual evidence connecting Joe Biden directly with Burisma, and they want to say that that totally exonerates him. And there you go, no smoking gun, even though in literally the next sentence he says that the Bidens were hired to legally intimidate anybody attempting to prosecute or look into Burisma's dealings. You can't make this stuff up, folks. I mean, you literally cannot make this stuff up. These people are willing to cheer on non-existent crimes and the endless, illegitimate persecution of Donald Trump. All the meanwhile, at the exact same moment, they're willing to totally dishonestly defend a legitimate criminal family, a compromised criminal family currently occupying the White House because there happens to be a D next to their name. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, you literally cannot make this stuff up. This type of partisan double standard is unbelievable. This transcript is damning. Devon Archer's interview with Tucker Carlson is extremely damning. The question is, will Republicans finally stop sitting on their hands and actually do something? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. It's clowns like Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney, Nancy Mace. I mean, the list goes on. Chances are you'll probably have to settle for disappointment. I guess it's the typical Republican voter experience. But anyways, hopefully I provided some clarity here, and hopefully I demolished this bogus Democrat narrative moving on Twitter. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.